Welcome back. Next, we have a story of success, disappointment, and perseverance. Award-winning Boston journalist and author Carmen Fields' new book, Going Back to T-Town, the Ernie Fields Territory Big Band, is about her father's journey as a musician and businessman, navigating racial segregation during the Jim Crow era. Carmen, thank you for being here today.
I'm thrilled.
So special to have you
so
here.
Much.
You know, I know I've been talking to you as you've been putting this book together, and let's start with the beginning, start with the basics. What is T-Town?
T-Town stands for Tulsa, Oklahoma, the place of my birth and the place to which my father always returned. His band was based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and one of the first recordings that he penned was called T-Town Blues. And the first lyric is, I'm going back to T-Town. So I thought that was an appropriate metaphor for the theme of the book. Although he traveled all over the country and into Canada, he always came back to T-Town.
Okay, now your father was the lead of a territory band, that's the word, that traveled
They call it, yeah,
across
territory
the country?
big band.
Explain how this type of music contributed to the development of jazz music.
Well, the territory stood for the primary area from which he operated, and his territory was Oklahoma, Texas, Dallas, Kansas City, New Orleans, that kind of region, although he went beyond that. And there were other territory big bands at the same time that were in different regions of the country. And jazz and swing were in their infancy, and he was going with the flow, and many of the musicians that were in his organization were plugged in and creative and were a part of helping create this new sound that became the sound of our contribution to the world, jazz.
Jazz is an American invention, isn't it?
Indeed.
Now, your father faced racial prejudice and threats of violence as he traveled. Can you talk about that aspect of his journey?
Well, he considered himself blessed that mishaps seemed to avoid him and his organization, but they weren't without trials. One that I tell the story in the book, he drove a 43-passenger bus, and it had 2 tanks that held 40 gallons each. And he said he would always keep one tank full, but when the other one would get low, he would stop in a filling station and ask if they would let them use the restroom. And if they said no, he would say drive on, because 40 gallons would be a good haul for the average roadside filling station. But his way of protesting not being treated fairly was not to leave his money there.
There you go, there you go. Something that we don't have to deal with today, but it was an everyday issue.
Everyday issue, where we could sleep, where we could eat, where we could get used facilities.
Now, your dad had a top 10 hit in 1959 with his rock and roll rendition of In the Mood. Describe that time, and is this the In the Mood written by Duke Ellington?
This was In the Mood written by a gentleman by the name of Joe Garland that had been popularized in the 40s by the Glenn Miller Orchestra.
In the Mood.
In the Mood.
In the Mood.
Yes, that's the one. But he took it and put a rock and roll imprint. And this was part of his ongoing effort to stay relevant, going from big band and swing to rhythm and blues to blues and to rock and roll, the new kid on the block. So one of his good friends and former arrangers arranged that rendition, recorded it, and to everyone's surprise and delight.
Yes.
It was 23 weeks on the charts, led to appearances on Dick Clark's American Bandstand, which was a big deal.
Yes, indeed.
In that day. But
what was it like in the Fields household when this all was happening?
Well, you know, youth is wasted on the young.
That's what they say.
And I can remember being embarrassed if the guys came to the house, and because we had a piano in our living room, they would rehearse and jam. And I would always wonder, what will the neighbors think? You know, why can't he come home with a briefcase and work from 9 to 5? But as I grew older and matured, I was much more appreciative of the fact that he told the stories of his triumph and his disappointments, and they formed the foundation for what eventually became the book.
Now, you traveled with your dad on the road. How did he influence you and your brother?
Well, he influenced my brother more than me.
Okay.
My brother's a professional musician. He's also a musical contractor based in Los Angeles. He's recorded with just about everybody you can name, and he's now the music contractor for the American Idol. He hires the musicians that support the performers on American Idol. I, on the other hand, had all of the lessons in the world, and it just did not take. But it was fun for me when I traveled with them. In those days, the vocalists sat on the stage until it was time for them to act. So my mother would dress me up very pretty, and I would get to sit next to the vocalist on stage during the performance. So,
well, your career as a journalist had you on a different kind of stage, so there was some influence there, right?
Indeed, and I like to think that I didn't want to be compared with my brother or my father, where I was kind of expected to be a musician, so I wanted to find something completely different, and that's when I discovered journalism and writing.
Okay, all right, Carmen Fields, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, going back to T-Town, the Ernie Fields Territory Big Band is due out in June.